Oh yeah, also when we say like uh so we're gonna be like, alright, we're gonna introduce you, we're gonna say like a little introduction or whatever, and then just think of like something about your life that you wanna say when we introduce you. So we're gonna be like, do you wanna so we'll be like, do you wanna introduce yourself and just be like, hey guys, like I'm a junior at Valley Christian High School, like they said, and I like sleeping.
Okay.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Just be casual.
Yeah,
Just be-
exactly.
Just be casual.
Are you Justin?
I haven't done this.
Me neither.
What's up, guys? I'm your host, Justin Morgan, and welcome to episode 21.
Slower. Talk a little slower. And talk more.
Pretend like the mic's not even there.
Yeah. What's up, guys? I'm your host, Justin Morgan, and welcome to episode 21 of Success HS. Today, I'm joined by one of my classmates, a junior at Valley Christian High School, Natalya André. So she is a wrestler for Valley Christian, and restart that. Okay, I got it all. No, I got it all. All right, no, I got it. Okay.
I think the mic.
I just needed to say it. Get it all out.
Okay.
What's up, guys? I'm your host, Justin Morgan, and welcome to episode 21 of Success HS. Today, I'm joined by one of my classmates at Valley Christian High School, a junior, Natalya André. So Natalya André was the first female wrestler to place in CCS and go to state. One of the first female wrestlers to accomplish any of those feats. And so, Natalya, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Natalya. As my classmate says, I'm a junior at Valley Christian High School, and I guess what I like to do best is just relax.
Nice.
Like being lazy.
Nice. I mean, we're all high school students. We all like to be lazy. And so also that brings us to my co-host, Mikey Payne. Mikey Payne.
Yeah, well, speaking of being lazy, hey guys, I'm Mikey. Hope everyone's having a great, morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time of day you guys are listening at. And this is our first episode in season 2. We took a couple breaks hiatus after our first season, and we're excited to kick it off again and bring you guys some amazing episodes, starting with this one here.
Yeah, definitely. And so, Natalya, thank you so much for joining us. And first of all, I just wanted to ask, what kind of stuff do you do on a day off?
Day off? Oh my gosh, I like to sleep.
On a day, yeah, totally. So, like, what time will you wake up?
Me? Okay, it depends on, like, what time I go to bed, obviously. Like, because I have a set, like, time sleeping schedule, I guess. Like, if I go to bed at, like, 10, I wake up at, like, 10. So I usually get 12 to 13 hours of sleep on the weekends.
Nice.
Or I attempt to, at least.
Well, we all love sleep, so.
Yeah, actually, I got hit hard by daylight savings time, guys, so, your boy Mikey is feeling a little bit slow today, so Justin might have to cover me on some of it.
Just a quick story, just to start off this podcast. I texted Mikey today at 11:30 telling him to get in the car to get to this interview, and at 12 o'clock he texted me, I just woke up. So we're all having that kind of day. But anyway, just to start off the conversation, so you're the first female wrestler to place in CCS.
Yes.
So do you want to talk about who have been the people that have supported you through this whole journey?
Wow, there have been a lot. Well, very few my first year, because wrestling, she's not going to do great. It's her first year wrestling. She's not going to do anywhere. And I was like, yeah, probably true. Not going to do anything. I would say my biggest supports were my coach, because he had low expectations because it was my first year wrestling, but he still gave it his best shot, because obviously I didn't think I was gonna go to state my first year wrestling, and I was like, well, but then also my parents, even though they were not fully supporting about me wrestling, because wrestling's a contact sport and all that.
Yeah, no, for sure. One of the most mentally tough sports out there, I'd say.
Yeah. My Coach Snodgrass, he says wrestling is the number one hardest sport. You could put water polo second, but water polo is number one because it's just you on the mat. You make a mistake, you don't have team members to hide from, and it's just all you. And it takes a lot of courage to go on that mat because it's just by yourself.
All right, so so if you don't mind me asking, do you have some sort of internal self-talk or something you say before you're wrestling in big matches or anything going through your head? Do you just try to keep it relaxed, or are you focused on some technique or something like that?
I kind of feel bad because I relied a lot on my wrestling mate, Jake Jansen. He was my number one there, and he would always help me, talk me out of psyching myself out. I would say my second year wrestling, he was my number one support beam, and he's I guess my number one fan. But and I do the same for him a lot, and so we work very well together, and But my first year, I was just think of nothing. Honestly, I just somehow just thought of white blank space and not think about anything.
So just kind of, you were in the zone. You were just putting out, you know, the distractions and all the noise. You're just like, you know, I'm focused here today. This is what I'm doing. And, you know, for our listeners, take notes from Natalya too, because, you know, if she's going to a big wrestling meet, whether you're going into a testing situation or an athletic situation or even, you know, a relationship or something like that, if you can just find yourself in the zone and cut out the distractions, it'll really help you, you know, improve your performance.
Yeah, well, like what I learned, like from what I do, I like, these headphones are expensive, but I have Boise's and they're noise canceling, and like I put these on, and they just cancel any noise. I guess it's a form of meditation. I guess when you don't listen to anything and you don't think about anything. That's kind of what really I do. Cool. Like even before tests and everything, before like some stressful situation's gonna happen, I do that. Yeah,
me personally, meditation has really helped me, you know, stay calm and focused, and I try to do it every day. Sometimes I don't, but I try to do it every day. And you know, Bose, if you're listening, go sponsor Natalya right now. She's up and coming, so be on the lookout for that, okay? All those guys over in Boston at MIT, you know, working on the noise canceling headphones, come here.
For sure. Yeah, and just, I mean, I'm sure all of our listeners, most of our listeners are going through high school athletics right now, and I just wanted to say, just another takeaway from this is don't go through that nervousness before a game. You don't have to go through that alone. A lot of times when you're going through even before a test, before a big game, a lot of times people will just try to conquer that themselves. But for you, it's Jansen. For you, it might be for our listeners, it might be your parents, it might be a coach. But just you pointed at the thing and then you made me look down.
No, I know. We're good though. We're good. I can tell the truth.
Wait, cut that part out. You pointed down the notebook and I was like, what?
It's going smoothly so far.
It might be for our listeners. It might be your parents. It might be a coach. But just
I said Boise instead of Bose.
No, Boise.
Boise. Okay, we're out here in Idaho, I guess.
Wait. Let me. What did it end at?
Talking about support.
For you, it might be for our listeners. It might be your parents. It might be a coach.
I was thinking instead of saying listeners, say you, because you are talking to the audience.
Oh, shoot. That's
factuals.
If we said that, we would have got like thousands of more listeners, bro. That's such a good
If I said what?
You. Just say you.
Just say you.
For
you.
you.
Saying like
Don't
to the
say
listeners out there, not like for you guys, like.
Oh,
yeah.
You know,
right.
talk to them like a people.
Yeah, that's
facts. That's facts. Can you delete that part though?
Yeah, Natalya, you need to be like our consultant.
I am.
Yeah.
We need you on our marketing department.
Marketing department.
I like doing this kind of stuff. I can't talk.
For you, it's Jansen. For you, it might be for our listeners, it might be.
Yeah, just say for you. And just continue.
Just delete because I can say that part again. It's Jansen. For you, it might be for.
Okay, for you, at that. For you, it might be for you.
For you, it might be like.
Yeah. It might be.
Well, I would not put parents in though. Okay, I'm talking about this from experience. Don't say parents.
Don't say parents. Okay, so I'll just be like.
Well, you can say parents, and then I could just say why not all the time.
Okay. Okay. Divide parents. We like this.
It's Jansen. For you, it might be for.
For you, it might be good.
Not themselves, but for you, it's Jansen. For you, it might be.
I'll say for you, it's Jansen, and then can you continue from there?
Yeah.
And then for you, it might be your parents.
Put you guys.
Yeah, for you guys, it might be.
Yeah.
A lot of times, people will just try to conquer that themselves, but for you, it's Jansen. For you guys.
For you guys, it might be your parents, and then you say why not.
For you guys, it might be your parents.
Not always, because I mean, from experience, like, at least from not my experience, but like from my coach's experience, what he's told me stories in the past about parent just destroying their child before a match to the point where he had to kick the parent out of the
Wow.
building because
Wow.
he was destroying his mental state before his match. Like saying, oh, you're going to lose or you're going to fail. And it's like not what you're supposed to do. My mom's kind of like that. She's like, she's just saying like she's scared and stuff, but then like she doesn't, but that's not kind of what you want a parent to do before.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying here. Because, usually people have, they find different ways to motivate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, motivate themselves through like a positive lens, but other people can go to the dark side. Kind of, you can say that, and just kind of like bring out like, they could, Darth Vader, exactly. They could bring out, internal hatred, or they could, not hatred, but they might feel like they have a chip on their shoulder, they have something to prove. And I would argue you need to use both the dark side and the light side to be fully successful, but you cannot let the dark side take control of you. You definitely got to have the more positive attitude. And, once you really bring that out, externally, your supporters will see that and they'll also be more positive, which leads to the positive results.
But then it also depends on the person.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, but obviously there's like some people are about like, oh, if you like talk down to and you're like beaten down, they come back stronger.
Yeah.
And then some of them where they just crumble under that.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends who you are. And like, at least from like my coach's perspective, he doesn't want any of those two to happen. He wants to be more safe than sorry. So he just has a parent step away before a child.
Just takes the variable out of that.
Yeah.
And for you guys, if your parents aren't that figure, then you can always go towards any of your close friends, or hopefully your coach is that figure in your life. And yeah, so just going back, just directly.
We should just leave that. We should just leave that in.
No, that's so bad. I literally made fart noises.
No. And then I'll say, Justin, what was that? Yeah, no. And then it's like, oh, don't worry about that, guys. It's fine. Let's do that.
Okay, fine.
We gotta have more fun.
Alright,
This is fun. They'll like this.
Yeah. So just going back, just directly.
Okay. I'm leaving right in.
So just going back, just directly.
Then I'll say, Justin, what was that?
Yeah. Alright, go for it.
Justin, what was that?
That's me screwing up my words, but anyway. So directing the conversation back to your CCS win. So that obviously took a lot of effort. It took a lot of work. So I just wanted to. We did this with a few of our previous athletes, and we just want to just for you guys out there. We just want to give you the perspective of the athlete that is successful, and we want to give you a glimpse into what their daily routine is. So, in terms of like a practice day, what is that day like?
Like in season or out of
In
season?
season.
In season? Oh boy. Don't follow my routine, guys. For me, I have a bad diet, so I don't eat breakfast or lunch usually. But then I eat dinner after practice, but don't follow that, that's bad. Obviously I'm trying to work on that, but I'll just wake up in the morning, leave the house, go to school, do classes, survive school, I guess. And then after school at least this season, we had 2 hours before our practice started. Excuse me. Oh no, take that out. But like, obviously before practice, like you need to get some homework done and like, or stuff like that, and then then practice starts. You grind through practice, which for us is 2 hours grueling.
2 hours, yeah.
Ugh.
Rough.
Yeah.
But it was great because you get stronger. It's like pains, weakness, leaving the body, which is like great. And so like, and then after that, go home and then dinner and then finish any other homework and like go back to bed.
Yeah.
So for me, there were more like 16-hour days because I'd leave my house like at 6 in the morning and I won't get back till like 8. So that's like 14 hours. But yeah, and then like there's some nights like for me, like especially youth group night where I won't get back until like 10 at night. So
Wow.
like those are long hours.
Ooh,
for me.
yeah, and like, so obviously you're not getting a lot of sleep, but the sleep you get is valuable. Are there any like tips or tricks you have for sleeping, or do you just you just worked hard all day and you just hit the bed or whatever? Or how does that work?
Honestly, I mean, it also depends what classes you have,
Mhm.
and what teachers you have. For me, for my teachers are kind of flexible because I know my schedule. So it's like, oh, if you don't finish this homework, just bring it next class, stuff like that. But like, for me, it's like when you feel tired, you should go to bed. Like, you should not stay up
Yeah,
longer.
can you just repeat that again? Because for you or any other high schooler and all you guys listening, you need to hear that again. So can you just say that
Like,
again?
at least for me, like, I just stop what I'm doing and I just go to bed. Because I just knows your body's exhausted and you need to stop, like, and you need to rest in order for it to, like, fully function the next day.
You guys hear that? Just go to bed.
Honestly, I hear my friends saying, oh, I stayed till, like, 1 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I'm like, I'm out, like, usually for me, latest is midnight, like, because I, like, try to follow the 8 hours or 6 hours at least, but, like, there's sometimes where I stay up to, like, 2 in the morning, but that's, like finishing a project before the day, but, like, honestly, like, that only happens, like, once a month for me.
Okay,
Otherwise,
that's
like,
good,
I
yeah.
get, like, I try to get minimum, like, 6 to 5 hours of sleep at night.
Yeah, not just for wrestling, but for all sports. You have to be physically prepared as well as mentally prepared. And a big part of that is getting a decent night's sleep.
Because you don't want to get body exhaustion, which can cause burnout, because then you're like, oh, you're not having much fun at, practice in any sport than you are, because you're just tired, and then you're just getting more tired because you're getting a lack of sleep.
So Natalya, we were speaking a little bit earlier before this conversation, and you mentioned that you spoke a couple languages. Could you explain that and maybe tell us your 3 favorite words in one language?
Oh boy, okay.
Take your time.
I grew up in I guess my mom's Russian. She's migrated from Russia. She grew up in Soviet Union at the time. My dad's English. His father's side is Portuguese though, so I'm a mix of everything, I guess. I'm kind of like a mutt. What's new in this world? But anyway, so like apparently my first language was Russian, because like my mom grew me up on, and then English came because like my dad. So it was like, and I was living in America, so it's gonna come really easy. So Russian stayed still kind of with me. I'm slowly losing it because I'm not using it on a daily basis.
Like this podcast is in Russian for those of you guys listening. Sorry. We'll try to get you guys the Russian version later, and we actually are having podcasts in other languages in the works, so we'll try to work on that for you guys as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there was a requirement where you had to take like 5 years of Spanish, or like every year you had to take Spanish up to 8th grade. So I kind of knew some Spanish. I still understand Spanish very well. I understand other languages, which is really weird for me because it's like really creepy. It's like, oh, you said that. And I'm like, I knew that. I don't know how I knew that.
So are even languages you haven't studied, just kind of ones you pick up?
Yeah, like I went to Italy with my Latin class freshman year, and it was really weird because I understood what they were saying in Italian, and I do not know the Italian language.
That's probably the Spanish showing through. I'm also
That's
pretty fluent in Spanish, and there's a lot of crossover between.
Yeah, well, Romance languages and like everyone, and all the languages are kind of based on Latin, so I'm also taking Latin, so I guess you can kind of see the similarities. Actually, it's really weird that like Latin is very close to Russian. The only difference is the pronunciation of the letters in Russian, obviously, but like the sentence structure is the same, which is really weird. It's like hello, but and then
because
like,
Russian has a different alphabet, right?
Yes,
than English.
they have a very different alphabet.
Yeah, well, you know what they say, you can't fully understand your own language until you've understood another language.
Yeah.
And so understanding a wide range of languages will tap into the grammar in your own language.
And also just, in terms of the job market and just cultural skills to have, knowing languages is always a plus. And my grandfather is actually a translator in the military, and he knew a plethora of languages. So,
Wow.
Yeah, it's always great to have those skills in your back pocket.
Yeah,
And
totally.
kids, I know they say some kids take minimum requirements of the language. At least try to go above that, because obviously in high school that's a higher acceptance rate in college you want to go to.
Yeah,
My
definitely.
dad learned that the hard way, and he's telling me, I'm like, okay. So yeah, just I know like some like they say, oh, we require to, but they say recommend like probably 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Just do 3 or 4 years of that language, because it'll boost it up for you guys to get in.
No, don't take languages lightly, because that could be the difference between a job offer and not getting a job offer. So don't take language lightly in your high school career. And so just to wrap up this interview, I wanted to ask you just a generic question about your championship run. And so as a competitor in the same league, I know how difficult it is to not only physically but mentally and emotionally how difficult it is to come out with a CCS championship.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you, what is the most important part about winning a championship? What was the most important part about getting to this goal?
I can say I had two different outlooks, because first year wrestling, I obviously took it as a joke, because like, oh, I'm not going to go anywhere, and then I got third place, like, I guess out of pure luck, I would say, but my coach is like, you're a stud. I'm like, okay, but anyway, like, my goal was just get as far as you can go. That was my first year. My second year is kind of the same, but I had little goals, which is like, okay, instead of getting third place, I'm going to try to get, like, second or first place, Instead of going, like, one day and, like, only going to one day of state wrestling, I would try to make it to the second day and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Just pushing yourself to goals that you didn't think you could reach. And then once you put that goal in your mind, your body and the world, they take paths toward that goal, and you'll achieve it just thinking about it. That opens it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for you guys out there that are seeking a championship win or just one large goal, one thing that Natalya mentioned is just take little steps. So maybe one of your goals can be wake up a little earlier to get to that workout, or maybe show up to practice 3 times a week instead of 2 times a week, or maybe get that extra work in on Saturday that you might have not gotten before. So just make little steps, and eventually the little things will feed into your main goal.
Another thing is, like, communication. So communicate, like, from what I've learned and, like, what made me really work well with team sports and, like, individual sports even. Like, I used to play water polo. I was always communicated with my coaches, like, oh, I'm not going to miss this practice. I'm going to miss this practice because of this. And they're like, okay, good, thank you for telling me and stuff like that. And, like, same with wrestling on any sport or anything that you're in, like, for me, like, class and stuff, like, give a heads up, like, what's going to happen. And your teachers and, like, coaches will respect you for it, because it means that it looks like you're generally trying your best, and, like, that you are like, oh, I want to be there, but I cannot, and that's different than saying, oh, I don't want to be there, I don't care, that's 2 different very outcomes of a situation. And, like, when you come to goals, at least, again, my coach described it as, at least for Valley Christian, and, like, I'm a Christian too, and he is, and how he described it for me was your life should be like a mural. We have pictures, and, like, those pictures are your goals in your life that you have completed, and the overall picture should be in the picture of Christ. At least that's how he described it to me, because I'm a Christian. For you guys, it may be something else, but for me, he's like, you should have a mural of your life, and it should be in a picture portrayal of Jesus Christ, because I do it for God, basically. And for when we had that long discussion, it was just him and I, and we had like an hour-long discussion, because he wanted to know what I was going to do in my future. And for me, I still don't know, which is okay, guys. Take your time, because you don't want to go on the wrong path and be unhappy for the rest of your life. It's better to seek out late than never, and, like, seeking it out too early and ending it up not being in the right path is awful. But so do take your time with that, because that's important. And don't do it just for money, do it for fun. But also, because you have to do something you really enjoy, because if you don't, you're going to get burned out, which is what happened to me with water polo. I got burned out because I wasn't having any fun anymore. It was just work for me, and I was just like,
you also had to be self-aware and recognize that point, and I'm sure it was hard. It was hard for you to realize that, but once you did, I can't speak for you, but it definitely seems like you're a lot happier, and it feels like you found your place in wrestling.
I found my happy place, which was in wrestling, and I was kind of sad, because I had a feeling in freshman year that I wanted to do wrestling, but, like, I had my parents talk me out of it, so I didn't do it my freshman year. But then sophomore year, I was like, parents, no, I want to try wrestling. I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun, and it was, and I found it more fun than water polo. And I knew that it was the end of water polo when I got my first, like, serious injury, which was my shoulder, and where I had to go to physical therapy, and that scared the living crap out of me. I was like, I need to get back ready for, like, wrestling, because wrestling season's coming up. I'm like, I need to get back. So I was like, okay, God's saying water polo is not your sport, wrestling is. And I was like, okay, Lord, thank you for telling me. I'm going to go all out for wrestling. Yeah. So that's, like, when I, like, did a turning point, like, I, like, saw, at least in the eyes of the Lord, saying, okay, you did all these 3 sports sophomore year. I did water polo, wrestling, and then swimming. The best outcome for you was wrestling. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stick with one sport and continue that through my high school, and that is wrestling. So.
All right, awesome. And what Natalya brings up here, guys, she gave us a really excellent descriptive metaphor about the mural and your goals painting, an overall picture of, a bigger purpose or something that's greater than yourself. And maybe you're not necessarily of the Christian faith, or you maybe have a different set of beliefs, but you can still try to work and, fight and work for goals that are bigger than yourself. And this works for you in turn, because when you're struggling for these goals, you have reserves of energy that you can reach into and you can rely upon to know that you'll eventually reach your end result.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for the actual conversation. But thank you so much, Natalya, for not only giving us a little glimpse into your testimony, but also just reminding us to fight for something that's bigger than ourselves, and also just to get the big picture of why we do what we do and loving what we do. And so thank you so much for that. I wanted to end this segment with one of our favorite, or I wanted to end the interview with one of our favorite segments, Mikey's 3 questions. Mikey, will you?
All right, so I'm gonna start it off here with Natalya. So you mentioned you were in like some sort of a military involvement program, either with your school or outside of school. I'm not sure, but a lot of brave men and women have served our country, and it seems like you're taking some valuable lessons from this experience that you might like to share with some of our listeners.
Yeah, I'm in the United States Sea Cadets program. You guys can sign up. It depends from when you want to start. Ages 11 to 18. I joined when I was 10, so I've been in it for a really long time. But like, I call it almost my second home, because it's like I've been there for so long. I joined it because I was looking for new friends when I moved to the Bay Area, and I was being bullied when I first came. So I was like, I need to find another safe place, and I did. And then I found Valley Christian. I was like, bless. But so yeah, and so like, for me, what they teach us, there's like discipline and like confidence a lot, and like confidence and leadership skills a lot too. And like, I've learned so much from the United States Sea Cadets. Like, I feel like if I didn't go there, I would not be who I am today. And like, they have great, valuable like experiences. And like, for me, like, I realized that like, maybe as a career choice, I realized that military police could be my career choice. I like enjoyed their training there. I did scuba during the winter, which is like, I got scuba certified and I got advanced certification.
Wow, that's
Meaning I
really
can do
impressive.
open water.
Congratulations.
Thank
My
you.
dad actually was a scuba diver in his day, and he did certification for that.
Yeah.
So that must be really fun. And so, what branch of the military is this focused on, or is it
Navy.
all Navy? Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
But it transfers to all branches pretty much, especially towards the academies.
No, yeah, and also, guys, there's a really good podcast and also a book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. He's a Navy SEAL. And if you guys are interested in more things about, mental toughness and discipline, I would highly, highly recommend this book. And he also has a great Instagram feed at Jocko Willink. So follow that if you're into, motivation as well. And this brings me into my next question, which is pretty much the opposite of motivation. But what do you do after a long day when you're just tired? Are there any favorite like YouTube channels you go to? Any Netflix shows you've been binging or anything like that?
Okay, I like binge watched Supernatural, all like 14 seasons, which is like great. And then I was like, okay. And then it's like I also like watch Free Time and like the Try Guys. I look for comedy stuff.
Yeah,
and, like,
comedy is fun.
I mean, and like stuff like that. Honestly.
Any favorite musical artists?
Ooh,
It's a
that's
mix.
hard. Because I listen to a variety of music genres, but like, I usually listen to classic rock or country. All that
I
type of stuff.
like classic rock a lot personally. Mm-hmm. And this goes to my final question, which is, so as a female athlete, there's obviously been some challenges you've had, but what have, you used in your toolbox to any female athletes who maybe felt, a little bit underrepresented, because, sometimes athletics are usually very male dominated, and could you give them a couple pieces of advice that they could use to integrate into their training and just their situations?
Yeah, I would say, at least from my experience, I haven't had that many problems, at least. For me, I've had the opposite reactions, like, oh my gosh, she's a wrestler, she's scary, oh my gosh, and saying like, oh, you must suck. But like, honestly, I don't care. I don't care about it. I don't. I'm like, you know what?
Just shut it up.
I usually shut it out. if someone like comes up to me like face to face says, "Oh, you're gonna like go down," I'm like, show it to me, and like I bring it on. But like honestly, like it doesn't really matter. It's like for me, like I just shut I just shut it out. Like I'm like, you know what? You say what you say, and I do what I do. You know, like you have your opinion, I have my opinion. I don't care. I honestly, I don't care.
Either way. So thank you so much, Natalya, for a great interview. We're gonna have to start wrapping this up here because Justin has a dum dum lollipop that he's enjoying, and he just opened it up. So
Hey man, dum dums are great.
Yeah, dum dums are good, and we're just gonna put a little bit more fun into these episodes. If you guys have managed to make it through the whole episode, I don't know how you managed to do that, but no, just kidding. But we have an amazing guest for you guys today, and me and Justin are really trying to make these episodes more fun for you guys. So we're gonna play a small segment called Guess That Sound. Guess this sound. Justin, what do you think that is? Does that remind you of when you wake up in the morning?
That reminds me of Mikey in the morning.
Oh. Well, guys, whether it's morning, noon, or night, thank you so much for tuning in. Our social media is success.hs on Instagram. Our podcast can be found at successhs on Spotify, successhs on Apple Podcasts, and any other distributor of podcasts that you guys listen to. Please keep up the support. Leave us a review on iTunes. That helps us climb up the charts. Right now, we're currently in the education category, and the more reviews we get, the higher we go on the charts. So keep that up.
Almost at 2,000 listeners.
We're almost crossed the 2,000 listener milestone, and we love all the support you guys have given us. Natalya, is there anything else you'd like to share, a parting message, a shout out for yourself, or maybe just a final quote that you'd like to give?
I'm giving you guys a shout out. Thanks y'all for inviting me on this podcast. This was awesome. Deuces.
Alrighty.
Peace. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to episode 21. Tune in for episode 22. And yeah, guys, thanks for listening. Peace.
Awesome.
All right.
As simple as that.
There we go, in the bag.
Yay!